I'm going to show you exactly how I built mytoneofvoice.com, an AI that can analyze your text and help you create content that sound like more you. Using Windsurf plus the OpenAI o3 reasoning model, I've actually coded this application in an afternoon, and I'll be actually showing you and guiding through the journey. Here's the tech stack and what exactly am I using during the thought process and how I built this together. The front end is actually a NextJS and a Shadcn. I'm actually also using 21st.dev and mobin.com for inspiration. The backend is using the Postgres database, and the AI processing in the backend, as you know already, it's actually OpenAI / the mini o3 reasoning model. All right, we are now into Windsurf, and I'm going to show you actually the instruction.md. This is actually one of the most important steps if you don't want to actually be stuck in a loop and provide as much context as possible to Windsurf and / Claude 3.5 Sonnet if you already wanted to use the Claude Sonnet model or the o3 model. So very, very important that you actually step and use a lot of those. It is actually then very important that you take actually your time to try and design as much as possible the application within the prompt. In this case, I have actually a prompt that you can actually copy over, the project overview, where I'm actually guiding and telling the system that I want to actually look into generate a website that will allow my user to use their tone of voice for the content they provide so they can reuse the instruction for their content creation, right? So that's actually the initial project overview. I'm not going into technical step in this case yet. I'm just explaining, okay, I want you to use NextJS and Shadcn, which is and Lucid React for the icon. Postgres database will be used for the project. So again, I'm staying very broad in this. Basically, what I want to do is I want to have the app as quick as possible and then iterate through the front end at one point. Here is the core functionality. Let's again try to be as much detailed as possible and use actually some of the keyword. For example, I'm using into this prompt, I'm using a model because I knew as the user clicks submit, I wanted to have actually the pop-up appearing where I'm actually asking the emails of the user. I'm also thinking about the database already. Again, if you are working with database, you want to use potentially, if you're on a Next.js project, you want to maybe actually want to implement Prisma, which allow you to actually use your migration file. Something we'll actually leave for another session, maybe another video at one point. This database here is actually very, very simple. I'm just capturing the emails and I'm actually just capturing the, that's it. That's just the emails of the user. I'm passing then the documentation. The reasoning models to be used is actually the OpenAI o3 models. After doing the application, I'll suggest that you actually provide potentially a quick start from OpenAI. If you go to the OpenAI documentation, you will actually have an option to choose and see the quick start. Providing this information would have allow me maybe 2 or 3 prompts back and forth as the generation didn't work at first. So very, very important that you put as much as possible, as much as documentation as possible. Also, something I wanted to mention on the core functionality, I knew I would actually use an email notification. So I would actually send the emails to the user. What I'm actually using and the most easy to set up is actually resend, which I'm explaining in the school community, but basically resend allow you to send emails to your user fairly easily without actually having to worry about SMTP setup and etc. So very, very nice tools to actually send user email notification. On the specific instruction, I give my database URL is provided into my env.local file, and I'm actually basically asking the system to actually use Prisma and do the database work completely empty. So there's nothing there's no schema and no table created. So I ask the system to create the table altogether. Here is the current file structure I'm providing. So basically, I'm actually just outputting the file structure in a tree format, and I'll put the description. I'll put in the description the comment that I used to get this information, this work together. All right, so we are actually getting somewhere. I have actually a V1, I think, a V1 that's ready to ship. As you see, I'm not too shabby. I do actually like the how it's actually being created. I like the functionality of it there as well. So I have actually copied an entire classroom just for this purpose. I'm going to now get my tone of voice, the model open, which is actually nice as well. I'm going to just put my email. I have actually a nice little animation on the button. So right now I'm actually calling it OpenAI and I'm actually using o3-mini. So the reasoning models from OpenAI that was actually released yesterday. And basically in about 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe, I'm actually going to have the information being displayed on the screen and also actually received over an email. So here, as you see, I have actually a little toaster completed. Your tone of voice analysis, and I have actually the whole tone of voice that has been actually returned to me. I can copy it as well over there. And now if I'm actually opening my emails, as you see here, I have actually a nice little template that's actually been generated for me. And yeah, that's actually, I think, V1 that's actually been done. Here is actually the application so far. I did something interesting this time. I did a twist. So this is just, again, remember, this is actually just an init of Shadcn, this component library we're using. We have actually a couple of slight challenge. Obviously, the alignment is actually wrong here. But what I did, I went to mobin.com. I found actually an application that I actually like, and I actually took a screenshot of this, right? And I've actually passed it to the system and I actually asked him to some kind of same feeling. What I actually like is actually I liked the over there, and so here is actually what I have so far. So I need to actually put 600 words, right? So there is actually a count, like a system that counts the words. So I have actually a text over there. So I'm actually putting the the words, like minimum 600. I'm actually then pushing the get my tone of voice. This actually open the model over there. I might actually try to enhance this as we speak. But now if I'm actually doing this, all right, let me actually do this. This won't work, right? Your tone of voice, analyze, instruction, mode casual. This is simulation. This is actually just a placeholder over there for me to test. What I wanted to confirm actually is the database. So basically what I have now, I have actually database has been connected. Let me move this over and I can see the emails and the usage count over there increasing as I go, which is good. So that means that now the database connection is actually working. All I have to do is I have to continue on the OpenAI submission logic, right? So I want to have actually this to be analyzed using O3 and return into the browser, as you see, like getting the tone of voice basically display back to the user, but also have that send over. And once we have actually this up and running, we have actually the application. I'll continue with actually the feeding of the application, and then I'll actually show you the final result. And what I'll do is I'll as well cover the GitHub. Basically, I'm going to show you how to upload this into GitHub. And so we can actually host this into it. Or if you are actually part of the school community, I'm explaining actually how to do the self-hosting portion. All right. Couple of iteration later, we are now having something that's actually wise. It's actually looking good, or at least to my liking. I wanted to show you how you can actually improve this using actually 21st Dev, which is actually a very nice component library. And I wanted to show you how to actually easily install and deploy this if you are using Shadcn, right? So 21st.dev is actually a component library already pre-made in this case. We can actually have access, like, for example, I used and installed the background, as you see on the website over there, which was actually very nice, add some depth. What I wanted to show you live, basically, is that the card over there doesn't look good to me. I want them to stand out a little more. And so bottom line, I'm going to go back to 21st over here, and I'm going to search actually for a component called card. And now within the card, you can actually search whatever style you want, basically. Okay. I do actually like this one though. Let me see. Maybe a little too basic. Right, yes, too basic. I would actually go and choose the one that I was actually initially picked. And so there's actually this one, the grid pattern, right? So I've already usually copied this. Basically, you would click on this, install component using npm, and you would actually then just go to your Windsurf. I've already installed and deployed this. You see, I've actually deployed the rainbow button. And you would actually just paste this comment over there, and that would actually install the grid pattern. So I think I've actually already done this. If not, no, I'm gonna just do it. Now we have the component that's been actually added, and here is actually how you can just simply implement this. Now I copy prompt. I will tell actually Windsurf, I say, hey, okay, please help me improve my to card at the bottom using what's the name? The grid ellipse pattern. Ellipse pattern. Can I type today? Pattern that I already installed. Here is the restriction. And then you would actually just simply go paste this over there. We'll actually look into in Cascade, we'll actually analyze this and we'll actually potentially implement grid pattern. So we'll see how that goes. It's actually updating the page. And again, I don't know if the grid pattern will be good. I just wanted to test this out. All right. So code has been generated. Good. If you want to actually improve some of the styling, fair enough. All right, let's see from there. Now, if I go back to this, and as you see, it started to be actually a little more appealing on the look over there. I literally really actually like how this turned out. I actually added this little goat icon over there as well. Maybe I can improve the drop down at one point. I like the rainbow style over there. That's actually match some of the styling that goes over here. Now the model as well has been actually amended, which I do actually like. I have actually some basic image validation as well going in the background, and I like the card. I actually really like the card. Okay, I'm very happy with actually the UI as we speak. I'm just gonna now move into the OpenAI implementation, so the system can actually return some information right into your browser and actually ask then to send this over the emails, so you would actually receive an emails from the system. I'll show you the final product when this is done. All right, now that the code is actually done and we have a V1, we need to actually push this into GitHub. GitHub is actually a service, so GitHub is the service that actually allow you to host the code. And what we're using, basically, we're using Git, which is a protocol which allow you to actually have a difference between modification of the file. For example, let's say I upload version A and I'm actually making modification. It become actually version A.1, for example, and I can always revert back if I wanted to. So GitHub is a very important skill to have for your AI automation journey at one point, or AI in general. So we're going to see from there. So I'm going to put the Win aside. I'm going to go to github.com just to confirm as well. GitHub is the service, right? GitHub is not the Git. So the protocol code is Git, right? And we're using GitHub as a service, which is free, to actually be able to upload your repository or create repository and upload the code. I'm going to create one here. We're going to call this tone of voice, right? I'm going to make it private. I'm going to create the repository. And now we're going to have actually a bunch of comments over there that we're going to have to type. One important step before as well uploading the code to GitHub, if you wanted to compile and actually make it production ready, which is what we want to do in this section of the video, you need to be able to do npm run build. And I have to actually build and ensure that everything is actually working fine. You see here, I have actually potentially an issue with the page.tsx. Over there, it's actually in red. Maybe let's see. Okay, it managed to work. Fair enough. Maybe it's a bug on my Windsurf over there. Code has been building. So now that I have actually the code building, I can actually then literally go and paste those comments over there, right? So I'm going to just put this aside and I'm going to do that live together. What we're going to do, we're going to have to actually, if I do git status, I can see a lot of modification over there that were actually, like basically I never push anything to GitHub. That's a fresh, we're going to do a git init to initiate the GitHub, right? I'm going to do git add and I want to do a dot to add the entire system, right? There's also an important portion we're going to see. It's the git ignore. You need to actually have a git ignore where you have the env and potentially the env.local. I'm going to do it like this, right? So I'm going to git add, right? I'm going to now do the git commit. We want to commit the change and I'm going to call this init for initialization. Now it's actually create a bunch of text over there. That's okay. That means that basically it creates the mode for each of the file. And now what I can do is I can do a git push. Sorry, I'm going to have to. Okay, now I can actually just go, and this is the repository that I want the system to, the code to be pushed over. And now what we can do, I can do a git push -u origin main, and now I'm pushing the code. Really, there is actually an easier way to do it. I just want you to practice this specific segment. You need to actually then add a comment, which is actually the comment of the init, and I'm going to show you in a minute. We're then going to have to actually git push. You literally have 3 comments to master, and then you can actually potentially go on the easy way and actually use the source control in Windsurf over there, where you can actually add your code by a simple click of a button. But really making it to the terminal and allowing you to understand how and what you're doing exactly, that's actually those 3 comments over there. It's very important. And that's why I'm showing it this way. I can actually go to Coolify. By the way, this is actually what we're seeing in my school community. If you want to know more about self-hosting, I'm going to click on continue, no change over there. I'm going to actually modify this. It's going to be an HTTPS toneofvoice.com. I'm going to click on save. I'm going to push my environment variable. So over there, I'm going to go to the developer view and I'm going to copy, paste over there. I'm not going to show my env file, but you get the idea. All right, my env file has been actually implemented over there. All I have to do now is I have to go to, I'm going to name this. It's going to be, put anything on the description that you want. All right, so I have actually name, description, domain, my toneofvoice.com. I have my env file pushed. That's okay. I can now simply go and click on deploy. The system actually needs to be able to build in order to actually host it, obviously. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to have actually, if everything goes well, we should actually have at the top here in green. I'm going to actually show you that in a minute once the build is over. All right, so the build is actually creating the optimized production build, which is actually one of the final step. Configuration, everything is fine. If I go now to link, and if everything goes well, I should actually have too many redirection. That's okay. We're going to fix this quickly. We're going to go to SSL. I'm going to go to configured, and I'm just going to send that to full. I'm going to actually save. And now, if I actually refresh this page, congratulations, we have actually, or we should actually have in a minute, the website up and running. As you see here, maybe it might take just a couple of minutes to display properly. All right, and the website just appeared by magic. And we now have actually an AI tone of voice website that allow you to actually get your tone of voice. If you want to actually build an app similar to this, or maybe you are already building one and want to connect with other AI enthusiasts, please check the description down below where I have a link for my AI Automation Guild on School, my private community, where I take you on a journey to learn and create AI-based application and automation.